what we
You
got
have to be
here,
involved.
guys, we're going to do an NHL Mock 2.0 between Enortap and Marko. Both of them select each team players. The first one, guys, is San Jose. We're going to skip San Jose, guys. We know we're going to deck Celebrity. We go with Chicago, Marko, and your first pick for Chicago.
A lot of buzz. People thinking it's going to go more towards Demidov because of combine that happened in Russia. I just have a hard time thinking that in this draft with so many good defensemen, Chicago knows they're going to be drafting high again next year. It's better draft for forwards next year. Even though there's a lot of buzz that Demidov is going to go to Chicago, I'm still sticking with Lev Shinov.
Okay, so I agree with Celebrini, obviously, as number one. Number two, it is between those two. And I think last time we did go with Lev Shinov as number two. You know what? I'm going to stick with that just because I believe that Chicago has really done their due diligence in the number of times that they've spoken to him, seen him in action, and they want to secure a solid defenseman. And Lev Shinov definitely fits the bill there.
And Mr. Enortap, we go with Anaheim Ducks.
Well, the Ducks, I think, will go with a defenseman as well. Looks like somebody whose value has really picked up lately has been Zeev Buium. I think they might go that direction with Zeev Buium.
So, Marko, you're going to get the next one, Anaheim Ducks.
I have the same pick as Enortap here as well, too. I swear we didn't compare notes before. I just find it really hard to imagine that Pat Verbeek is going to go with a Russian. I think they definitely want to go D. I know they wanted a right shot D, but we know that Zeev Buium does play. He can play on the right. And I think for me, he's the second highest touted defenseman in this draft. He's really zoomed up. Not a lot of people have Buium going here, guys. So we're probably in the minority, but I think it makes a lot of sense. It would be a great pick for Anaheim.
Cool, you're going to go now with the Columbus Blue Jacket.
I think there's been some movement since our last mock draft, coach, because Grant McCagg, darling player, Beckett Seneca, I think he might go number 4 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's not impossible that they would go Demidov here, like real chance, but I suspect that it would either be between Lidstrom or with Beckett Seneca. And with what we've seen from Lidstrom with some of his health issues and everything else, I suspect that they would go Beckett Seneca for Columbus at number 4.
I think they'll definitely go forward here as well. I mean, I would have absolutely no hesitation, and probably the person that I'm going to put here would have gone higher if not for all the talk about the herniated disc, but I can't see him dropping much more than this. I'm going to say Lindstrom to Columbus.
Montreal, Mr. Enortap.
Okay, the Canadians, of course, will have a tough decision here because they can go many different directions, but I think we know that their number one priority is to get a solid forward. You know, for me, at this point, I go with TJ Iginla before I do Demidov. It's not going to be a popular choice, but I just like what Iginla brings to the table.
Wow.
In our original mock draft, I had Iginla going 5th, right? But that's because Ivan Demidov wasn't available. So for me, for sure, I would go Demidov at number 5. I think most Habs fans will be pretty happy, but I also wouldn't be mad at all if we go with Enortap's pick and we ended up.
All right, number 6, Marko.
So number 6, I had Lindstrom going to Utah. You know, a little bit of a drop, but I would have Lindstrom going to Utah. I think they have a lot of skill, but not a lot of size, right? So whether Lindstrom ends up actually playing center or not, I think would be a really nice complement type of forwards that they have up in Utah.
Perfect. Mr. Enortap.
Well, I think with Utah, they're going to really want to solidify their defense in my eyes. And what better guy is still left out there than Anton Silayev with his size, the offense that not the offense as much as somebody else I'm thinking of, but he definitely can contribute in that regard. So it'll help that defense immensely. So I'll go with Anton Silayev.
Ottawa Senator.
At this stage, I'll go with I still have Demidov out there. I just forgot about that. Okay, can I, you know what? I'm going to make a switch.
Are you serious?
Then, coach, if that's okay. I'm going to put Demidov with Utah, and I'm going to put Silayev with Ottawa.
Okay, Marko.
Wow, I can't believe Ottawa would be getting another left-handed defenseman. But so for Ottawa, for me, I'm going right-hand defenseman, offensive dynamo, Zane Parekh, really nice fit for Ottawa. Not a lot of depth on the right side. Great opportunity for Ottawa to pick up a really offensive defenseman in Zane Parekh for the Ottawa.
Let's go with Seattle Kraken.
For Seattle, they're super thrilled. I think he's potentially, I'd have him ranked in the top 3 best defensemen in this draft. Mr. Dickinson to the Seattle Kraken. Really excited. I think that'd be a great fit for Seattle. they definitely need a little bit of depth in their pipeline on the back end.
Enortap.
Well, I definitely agree that defense will be an area that they'll want to improve on. Seattle, been seeing the last couple of years. They have some very good, but they're all about the same level. Like they're third, fourth type of defenseman. Somebody like a Zane Parekh would fit absolutely perfectly with Seattle. So I'll go with Zane Parekh.
Got it. I will move on with Calgary Flame, Mr. Enortap.
Okay, so Calgary, since I took the Thunder away from them and took a Ginla for Montreal, they're going to probably, one area of address that they've looked at has been defense with today's trade, but obviously we're talking a third pairing kind of defenseman in the hopes he becomes a second line defenseman. I think they'll go defenseman as well, and they're going to put a big body in there like a Sam Dickinson.
Sam Dickinson, Mr. Marko.
Coach, can you guess who I have at number 9 for the Flames? Looking at my board, yeah, so I've got Iginla at 9 for Calgary.
New Jersey, Marko.
So for New Jersey, I have Salayev going there. I know they have a lot of depth at D, but I think they don't have a guy like, especially after trading Ball. But like we talked about, Coach, number 10 could be traded. If it's Montreal picking here, I don't think they would pick Salayev. But
You take Zaliev, right?
Zaliev, yeah.
So, Enortap.
If this turns out to be Montreal's pick, I know where they're going with it. But being that it's New Jersey, I think I'll go with probably add some more firepower here. You got to go with, I have it narrowed down between two. I'm going to go with Berkeley Cat.
Wow, you still have Seneca on the board, dude.
Yeah, I do.
Buffalo Sabre, Mr. Enortap.
Buffalo. I'm going to go with, let's go with Seneca. I like that. Back at Seneca.
Seneca with that one. Marko, you're going to get the next one with the Buffalo Sabres.
For Buffalo, I go with, from the Calgary Hitmen, Carter Yakimchuk for the Buffalo Sabres. A lot of depth on the left-hand side of their defensemen, but not a lot of right-handed shot. Nice pickup for Buffalo. They already have so much depth up front, so I think this would be a really nice fit for Buffalo, Yakimchuk.
Flyers,
and then,
Marko.
So yeah, with Flyers, I go with Consta Helenius for the Philadelphia Flyers. Add a little something different to their lineup, like more of a two-way forward, and they need some depth at center, right? Like players like Morgan Frost, players like that aren't really working out. Sean Couturier is getting older. So nice pickup. Potentially somebody that could go even earlier. Consta Helenius to the Philadelphia.
Enortap, Flyers.
They're going to go with firepower, and they're going to go after the goals. And Cole Eiserman goes in this spot.
Think about that one there. We'll go with Minnesota, Mr. Enortap.
Now, Minnesota, they can use help anywhere. I'm going to go with Consta Helenius at this spot.
It makes sense to me also, that one. I think maybe go with Yakimchuk, but it makes sense. Marko, Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, so I think Enortap and I are not far off here. So I have Eiserman going to Minnesota instead of Helenius and vice versa. So going there and then to San Jose. Then I think San Jose walks out of the draft with two really skilled forwards, Celebrini and Berkeley Cat.
Wow. Not wrong, not because the captain is just like San Jose get captain, mais Celebrini, and they have Will Smith.
Yep. Yeah, looking good.
Enortap.
Shark. So they picked up Celebrini, great forward. Again, these guys need a lot of help. I think they probably go defenseman here with Carter Yakimchuk.
It makes sense. Let's move on with Detroit.
Detroit will go forward. You know what? I'm going to go with Michael Bransick Nygaard.
Marko, you got Detroit and the Blues.
Yeah, I think almost every mock draft I've seen, they have Branson Nygaard going to Detroit, and mine's not going to be any different. I think that's a really nice mix. Like he just adds really nicely to the mix there. I did think about Michael Hage here as well too, but just maybe a little bit too high for him. Yeah. So Enortap and I align on that one. Then to St. Louis, I'm going to stay consistent. For the last couple of mocks that we did, I had Adam Jiricek going there. I think somebody that stock has dropped a little bit because of his injury, but I think this is a really nice pickup. St. Louis desperately needs some refreshments and some reinforcements on their back end, especially on the right-hand side. So we'll go with Jiricek for the St. Louis Blues.
Enortap.
I think, and again, we didn't talk about this, but I had him there as well for St. Louis. I think that would be a very good pickup in Adam Jiricek, and defense is an area that St. Louis is trying to improve upon.
All right, you follow on with the Washington Capitals.
Now, Washington can go in a couple directions here. I think they're going to want to add something up front. Personally, I'm going to go really controversial here and say they picked up one troublemaker in Pierre-Luc Dubois. Maybe they'll go after somebody like a Trevor Connolly. So I'm going to go Trevor Connolly at this stage.
All right, Mr. Marko, you go with Washington now?
Yeah, for Washington, I'm going to go Igor Chernyshov. We know that Washington likes their Russians. Seems like it'd be a good fit. I think that's a good spot for him in there.
Great pick right there. Chicago Blackhawks, Mr. Marko, for the second time after they take Lechenov.
Yeah, so I think they go forward here. I suspect you guys don't agree with me, but I think Michael Hage is going to go in the top 20 here. So I'm going to go Michael Hage, Chicago Blackhawks. Maybe a bit of a drop, but really tough year for him. Family problems. I think teams are going to see a lot of value with him. And it's hard to go against a skilled center that's over 6 feet. I don't think he's going to drop too much farther.
Sound good. Enortap.
Okay, this is getting boring, Marco. I had Michael Hage there as well for Chicago, especially with them having picked up Levshunov. So I'll go with that as well. And then for Vegas, I'm gonna go with Stian Solberg. Bit of a reach, but I like what he brings to the table. He's very reliable, and he can definitely add to that Vegas team moving forward for sure.
Sound good, Marco.
So for Vegas, I know they like their big guys. I have Liam Greentree going to Vegas. Still a big guy, doesn't play very big, but I think it'd be a nice fit there. Lots of potential. He dropped a little bit after the World Junior. He could have went maybe top 10, top 15 before, but drops a little bit, but still a nice pickup for Vegas at 19.
And the Islanders now for Mr. DH. He's waiting for you. He's in the chat. He said, Marco, give me a good player.
For me, the Islanders are starving for young talents. That's what I think that they would go for Trevor Connolly, because they might be willing to kind of, I know Lou's pretty strict guy, really need young talent, right? They might be willing to risk it a little bit. So I'd say Trevor Connolly to the New York Islanders, I think would be an interesting fit.
And I'll tap with Islanders with your front T8.
Yeah, I think they go with the 6'3" Igor Chernyshov at this point. Dynamo Moscow. He's a very strong skater. He has great vision. They need help in offense, and I think this is the right way for him to go. Like his combination, I think, of skill and skill projection, like should have him at the very lowest a second line player.
Awesome. The Kings with Rod Blake.
For LA, I'm gonna go with Liam Greentree.
Marco, the Kings, following by the Nashville Predator Barry Trotz.
Williams been pounding the table for this guy here for a couple of turns here. So finally going to see the big left-handed bruising defenseman Stian Solberg for the Los Angeles Kings. Really great pick, I think, for them. Lots of strength on the right side, but LA, they have some depth in young D, but a lot on the right side, right? So left-handed killer on the left side. Great pickup for Los Angeles. One of the fastest risers in the 2024 draft, coming almost out of nowhere this year. So really exciting prospect and good for LA. Then I spoiled it earlier, so when I said it for Vegas, but I think to me, Sasha Boisvert has Nashville Predators written all over him. I can just see him in the jersey. I think he would be a great fit there. Very, very good goal scorer, but works hard. I could just see him wearing that ugly mustard color, Monsieur Boisvert, to the Nashville Predators.
Nashville and Toronto, Mr. Enortap.
For Nashville, I would agree. They need some good size up there, and Sasha Boisvert definitely does fit the bill. So I'll go with Sasha there. And for Toronto, I think I'm going to go with Ryder Ritchie.
Marco.
Yeah, okay. For the Leafs, I think they go back to the OHL after having a pretty good success with Owen Cowan. So I have Toronto going with Jet Luchenko from the Guelph Storm. They're going to need a little bit more depth at center with John Tavares leaving and some other pieces that are going to move around here as Toronto evolves. So nice little pickup. Then I have Richie going to the Colorado Avalanche at 24.
Colorado, Ottawa, Mr. Enortap.
Colorado, I think so. You know what? I'm going to go with Andrew Basha out of Medicine Hat. Bit on the small side, but I think he helps the team out quite a bit on the offensive side. He's also, I believe, he played forward, if I'm not mistaken. So that's an area of concern for them. So I'll go with Andrew Basha.
Ottawa.
What did I take for Ottawa last time? I took Siliev, defenseman. Time to go forward for them, and I'm gonna go with Tarek Perchek.
Coach, who did you who are you criticizing me for skipping over?
You guys, you forgot Gold Baudouin.
Criticize me a little too soon. I got Cole Baudouin for Ottawa. And then for Montreal, like, I don't know, I might get some stones thrown at me for this one. I'm going to go Emil Hemming, Montreal at number 26. Big right-handed shot. Good two-way player. I think Montreal would do well there. Lots of options there. But I think we all know and hope that Montreal doesn't do this pick. But if they did, then I like Emil Hemming.
So you have Montreal Canadian, and then you have, of course, the Carolina.
You ruined the surprise a little bit, because last time when we did it with the four of us, I really reached a little bit. I'd hoped that somebody like a Letourneau would be drafted in the first round. I think his stock will just drop a little bit just because of the competition level that he was at, even though he put up tremendous stats, and he's a big guy. But I think Montreal here takes a 6'2", 210-pound Cole Baudouin. He's a hulking forward, and that's what we need. He provides a whole bunch of power, a mix of power, and also finesse. Like, his skating probably be scrutinized a little bit from everything I read, but I think it's an area that he's improved on in the last year. So I like this pick because he definitely, in my eyes, will probably turn out to be a second line forward.
I love Baudouin. I just see that with Beck, and then also with Kapanen, I just feel that they're too much the same player, because he's a center, right? I just see him being almost the equivalent.
I mean, he can play on the wing, though, right?
Let's go with Enortap, Carolina Hurricane.
Well, they're going to probably lose, and they have some aging defensemen as well there too. So I'm going to probably go with one of my favorites is Charlie Ellick.
I know that. Charlie. That's what I was then saying for Mr. Enortap. I was expecting him to get out earlier for you, Mr. Enortap. There you go, Mr. Marko.
A2, good timing there, A2. With Eric Tulsky as the new general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, I don't think he's going to hesitate at all to step up to the mic and pick one Cole Hudson for the Carolina Hurricanes. Great pickup for Carolina right here. With all the turnover that's going to happen on their D-core, I think it'll be a really, really nice pickup for Carolina there. Another thing for Carolina and Montreal to hate each other over is who's got the best Hudson brother. Maybe just for that exact reason, Tom Dundon will go ahead.
The Flames.
So then for the Flames, I've got Andrew Basha from the Medicine Hat Tigers, Western Canadian boy. Great pick for Calgary there. Add a little bit of skill after adding already a really, really good tenacious forward in Tiji Ginla. Great draft for the Flames if they can pick up two little guys like that.
Sound good to me.
So for Calgary, I have at this spot, I'm going to go with Emil Hemming out of Turka Liga. Very productive in the second part of the season. I think that's a good fit for Calgary. And for Dallas, I will go with Igor Surin.
Marko.
All right, so for Dallas, I'm going to go Nikita Artemiranoff from the KHL for Dallas. And then I've got, for the Rangers, I've got EJ Emery. Rangers, I went with EJ Emery. Now, as you write that down, Coach, do we remember who Randy picked for the Toronto Maple Leafs in our mock draft?
Yeah, Harrison Ford Paninke.
Harrison.
Brunick. I'm not going that direction.
Enortap.
Okay, so for the Rangers, I'm going to go with Chet Luchenko. For Anaheim Duck, I'm going to go with Nikita Artemiranoff.
Go ahead, Marko.
So I'll make this. So I'll go. I have Surin going to Anaheim. Really hard-nosed player. Like, I know he doesn't love Russians, but I think he would really like the way that he plays, and that would be a good pickup for them. And then somebody that I don't think we had here before last time, Coach. Teddy Stiga from Boston College goes to Philadelphia Flyers. He might actually end up going even higher, guys. Like, he's a late riser.
And after that, the last one of the night.
Well, I had it as an intention, and then the team kind of turned me off of it. But at this point, I had Cole Hudson there. But I just don't see him really fitting in with the coach. So I kind of shy away from that at this point. I'm going to let's go with EJ Emery.
That's the last pick of the night.
Thank you to watching another Habs Nation video. But before we leave, we invite you, don't forget to click on the like, subscribe to the channel, and finally let us a comment about this video. And remember, you have greatness inside of you, and we wishes you an amazing, great, and blessing day.